I want you to write down the words the preposition the veritas machine, the veritas machine, the veritas machine, the preposition the veritas machine, veritas, veritas, veritas machine, veritas, veritas, veritas machine. The veritas machine.
Let's go.
The truth set you free.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Time to light the fires and kick the tires. Greetings to another episode of the Veritas Machine. I'm Tony D, your host. Let's get it. From the pineapple to the big apple, from Maine to Spain, let me know where you're calling in from, viewing from, all that good stuff. Let's go, Brandon. All right. The Tragic Life of Alec Baldwin, Part 1. Rough road.
The truth set you free.
Wow, that's a cool intro. Welcome everybody to another edition of the Veritas Machine. I am Tony D, your host. A great episode lined up for you guys today. Something exciting, something recent, something that I know a little something about, and that would be the tragic life of Alec Baldwin. In order to help this page, do me a favor, hit that like or hit the unlike. Leave a comment. Tell me what you want to hear, what you want to see. If you are new to my channel, I am Tony D, your host, and welcome. You're in for a treat because today you get a unique look into the shooting situation with Alec Baldwin. If you want to support the page any further, you can go right down here, like it, share it. We're going to get right into this video. I'm not going to hold this up any longer because we got to just get into this right here. This morning, we had a press conference. This jumped into the video this morning. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. I really do appreciate it. So, this morning, there was a live press conference from the Santa Fe Sheriff's Department. I believe it's Santa Fe County. I'm not sure if it's actually the Santa Fe Sheriff's Department. They will announce that in a second here. But what I want to do is I just want to get into the facts. Right now, we're going to look at the incident. What just happened in New Mexico on the set of Alec Baldwin's film Rust. If you would like to put something in the comment section, if you are a subscriber, please drop any questions, comments, queries, and let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office. I'm Sheriff Adan Mendoza. First and foremost, I'd like to offer our condolences to the Hutchins family, a speedy recovery to Mr. Souza, and our concern for the safety of all the men and women in the film industry.
Well, the
on
first
Thursday,
part,
October 21st,
and everybody there,
2001, yes. At 1:48 p.m., we were dispatched to Bonanza Creek Ranch in reference to a 911 call advising that 2 people had been shot on a movie set. The first deputy arrived at 2:00 p.m. and EMS arrived at 2:01 p.m. It was later determined that Helena Hutchins, the director of cinematography, and Joel Souza, the director, had been shot while rehearsing a scene on the movie Rust. During the initial investigation, it was determined that actor-producer Alec Baldwin was the person that fired the weapon.
Now, as we know, this is going to be a difficult thing for Alec Baldwin because not only is he the person who pulled the trigger, he is the person who brought everybody together. Hey, how's everybody doing today? What's going on,
Two other people that
Susan, Michelle, welcome.
the loaded firearm prior to Baldwin firing the weapon. These two individuals are armorer Hannah Reed Gutierrez and Assistant Director David Halls. All three individuals have been cooperative in the investigation and have provided statements.
Now, I just want to get one thing out of the way. David Halls, hey, what's up, Rabbit? Space Cake. David Halls is the assistant director, the AD, who handed him the gun and said cold gun. Hannah Gutierrez is the 24-year-old armorer who would have prepared the firearm. How's everybody doing?
Over the last
Welcome.
few days, our investigative team has been working diligently to conduct interviews, execute search warrants, and collect and process evidence from the scene. During this process, we determined that there were a limited amount of movie set staff present in the area where the actual incident took place, although there were approximately 100 people on set. Through the execution of search warrants, we have collected about 600 items of evidence. These include, but are not limited to, 3 firearms, approximately 500 rounds of ammunition, and several pieces of clothing and accessories. We believe that we have in our possession the firearm that was fired by Mr. Baldwin.
Nessa, that's a great question, and that is that has yet to be determined. My first question in this situation, from a firearm safety standpoint, is, Mr. Baldwin, why was your finger inside the trigger housing? I mean, why are you not treating this weapon as if it was loaded?
This is the firearm we believe discharged the bullet.
I'm sorry, I didn't watch this whole press conference at all. I just knew it was coming up, and I'm getting it raw because I want to have my reactions be just as natural as yours when I do commentary and reaction videos. Okay.
We believe that we have in our possession the firearm that was fired by Mr. Baldwin.
And what did he say? Bullet?
This is the firearm we believe discharged the bullet.
What?
We also believe that we have
What?
the spent shell casing from the bullet that was fired from the gun. The actual lead projectile that was fired has been recovered from the shoulder of Mr. Souza.
You know, I've heard a lot of things, okay, about this situation. Let's get through this first, and then we're going to address some of that stuff. Okay, so hang on to that question, please, Susan, because I'm gonna circle back. I'm going to circle back and make sure that is addressed in this video today.
The projectile
we got to separate a little fact from fiction here, guys.
Where he was being treated and turned over to the sheriff's office.
We're starting with the fact.
We regard this
Then
specific
we'll get into
spent
speculation,
casing
that kind of stuff.
and recovered projectile to be the live round that was fired from the revolver.
Okay, he
by
said
Mr.
bullet
Baldwin.
and projectile, which are two different things. That's
We have
unusual.
recovered what we believe to be possible additional live rounds on set. All the previous mentioned items, along with other items of evidence, will be submitted to the FBI Crime Lab in Quantico, Virginia, for analysis.
Okay, so this is now the FBI has picked this up. This is going to Quantico. They do not want to mess this up. And this lady on the right here, this fella on the right here, she is the DA there. Okay. I don't know who this fella is right here next to her.
We are working thoroughly to gather all the facts of the investigation, continue interviews, and further analyze and process the evidence. I want to ensure the victims, their families, and the public that we are conducting a thorough and objective investigation. In reference to possible charges, it's too early right now in the investigation to comment on charges at this point. The investigation will continue, and if the sheriff's office determines during our investigation a crime has occurred and probable cause exists, an arrest or arrests will be made and charges.
How many of you guys think that he is going to be arrested or charged with a crime? I do. I believe he will be charged with criminally.
Attorney for review. Before turning it over to the district attorney, I'd like to thank our investigations division for all their hard work and diligence in this case.
I'm going to get
The
into
Santa
that
Fe
too,
County
Mary.
Public Safety Department,
Hangs on.
EMS, and RECC, and the
We got to
local
get just through
FBI
this part
office for
first
their
because I want
support
him to
and
lay out the
assistance in
actual
this
facts
case.
that they have in the investigation,
Also,
and then we could.
the
get into
district
that.
attorney's office staff
I got a
that has
plan.
been working side by side with us during this case. I'd like to introduce first Judicial
Grab a
District
drink.
Attorney Mary Carmick Altweiss.
Okay, Mary Carmick Altweiss. What?
Good morning.
Mary
My
McCormick.
name
What?
is Mary Carmack Altweiss.
Carmack
and I am the
Altweiss,
first
okay.
Judicial District Attorney.
All right, here we go.
Thank you. Which includes, my jurisdiction includes Santa Fe County. I echo the sentiment.
And you tell me. Okay, first of all, as far as prosecutors go, in this game, Alec Baldwin is a trophy. Okay, Alec Baldwin is a trophy. We're going to get into that, Michelle. I'm going to show you what happened with my experience with Alec Baldwin after this.
Of Sheriff Mendoza, and want to send my condolences to the family, friends, and tight-knit film community impacted by this tragedy. We mourn the loss of Helena Hutchins and the injury to Joel Sousa. I also specifically want to thank the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department for so thoroughly and actively investigating. Actually,
Nancy, that is all of the point. What you're saying doesn't matter much. I believe what you're saying there, Nancy, is dead balls on. It is not. It absolutely matters. Okay, it absolutely matters. Okay, but gun safety is the first thing. Every gun should be treated like it was loaded.
This incident, our office appreciates your hard work.
But you're getting the facts here, and I'm not going to cut it. It's going to be a few minutes more. But you're hearing what they have now.
I speak to the prosecutorial perspective here. And I must emphasize that a complete and thorough investigation is critical to DA review.
I will cover everything that's on the thumbnail.
Corroborated facts
that's what I do.
And connect it to New Mexico law. And we are not at that juncture yet. If the facts and evidence and law support charges, then I will initiate prosecution at that time. I am a prosecutor that was elected in part because I do not make rash decisions and I do not rush to judgment. I rely on facts supported by evidence, cooperative and credible witnesses, and I cannot stress the importance of allowing the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office to continue with their quality investigation that is both serious and complex. So at this point, we will open it up to questions.
What kind of bullet was found? Sheriff, can we ask you, so you said that a live round was recovered. Based on the witness interviews that you've done, can you tell us what you learned about how live...
He can't answer that.
...on the set, and how it made its way into that firearm? You learned that there was possible target practice maybe earlier that day. What have you learned on that front?
So I think what we've learned is we suspect that there was other live rounds that were found on the set. I won't comment further on how they got there. That's still part of this investigation is active, so I won't comment on how they got there. Yeah. But we suspect that they are there. That will be determined when testing is done by the crime lab in reference to whether or not they are officially live rounds or not.
Okay, so here's the thing: is that due to copyright limitations, I cannot show you some of the footage that because I have gotten they might knock my live stream. Okay, but I have some footage that I'm going to put together in the next couple episodes about this, that I have been on a set. I have fired guns on film, and I'm going to take you through a little bit of the process after this. So let's not jump ahead, but keep these questions in mind. I want to get back to some of them for sure, but I haven't seen this yet either. So shut up.
That's what we're trying to determine.
This just popped up this morning. I didn't expect this.
Or handled the firearm when it was loaded before it got to Mr. Baldwin, we're interviewing, and there's some follow-up questions that we need to do. So there's further investigation, further interviews, and we're going to try and determine exactly how that happened and if they should have known that there was a live round in that firearm. No, I said there was a total of 500 rounds of ammunition. That is a mix of blanks, dummy rounds, and what we are suspecting, live rounds.
Shut up. What? What the? Why are they?
What type of bullet was found in the director's shoulder that was recovered at the hospital?
Well, we know it was a lead projectile.
Plomo.
It's still
Plomo or
to be
plata.
determined
Plata or
by the
plomo.
ballistic analysis by the FBI.
That is a saying that some of the cartels use when you got to pay up. Plata o plomo. Those of you who don't speak the Espanol, that means silver, as in you pay them, or lead. Right? So, was lead projectile in this?
Crime lab
What?
exactly what the weight of that bullet is. Maybe whether or not it was fired from that actual firearm. There'll be the riflings and things will be tested and compared. So there's a lot of testing that needs to be done.
Well, for example, one of the scenes I shot where I actually fired a weapon on film, there were 3 people in that scene. There were 2 people. There was 1 person on each side of me. All 3 of us were firing a weapon. Each one of us was signed an individual armorer. Okay. We didn't just get one person handling each one. So when the scene's done, when the scene would start, I mean, they looked in this thing, they checked this thing. I think they checked it to the point where you're just like, come on, just give me the thing. Let me just shoot this. And I can go back to, can I get back to the cheerleaders in my trailer, please? The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders in my trailer that came to visit me in town. Can we do that? Thank you. That's another story. But anyway, each one of us had an armorer handle that weapon. As soon as the shot was over, they were right there. As soon as they called cut, man, they were right on each one of us, taking the weapon, make sure it's cleared and looking down, flashlights, all that stuff, right? So it's supposed to be much more thorough. This is almost like they threw him the gun. Like, there you go.
To ensure that projectile left that firearm. And sure, so that's what we suspect.
Sure, as the man who pulled the trigger and as a producer on the movie, does Alec Baldwin himself face the potential of criminal charges? And if the DA could perhaps...
Oh, absolutely.
That may be a question better answered by the district attorney.
All options are on the table at this point. I'm not commenting on charges, whether they will be filed or not, or on whom.
First of all, if you're somebody who's involved in this situation and you are watching this and you are seeing this district attorney saying all options are on the table, you better have your lawyers on speed dial.
So the answer is we cannot answer that question yet until we complete a more thorough investigation. No one has been ruled out at this point.
Is Alec Baldwin considered a person of interest right now?
Person of interest.
That's you.
He's obviously the person that fired the weapon.
I mean,
so we're going to continue interviewing.
Oh
and
man,
to...
yo, homie just wasted his question back there in the cheap seats. Did you hear him? He's from the back. Hey, did it?
I'm getting the facts of his statements and the evidence.
Person of interest.
And possible witnesses or anybody that has any information. So right now he is.
Yes, we're going to get to that, Nancy.
Is he likely to be
This part right here, by the way, everybody viewing right now, this part was a surprise that came up this morning. I had a show planned. This is a new entry, so I'm just breaking it off first and everything. Okay. Yes, Michelle, I'm friends with the director of that project. He's still alive. You'll see photos of me and him on my Instagram.
We hope so. As of right now, everybody is cooperating with statements and interviews.
Sure.
His name's Dean.
You mentioned this is an ongoing investigation, but specifically for your department, what does that mean specifically? What else do you have to do?
So basically, there are a lot of interviews that have to be done. Okay.
Think of all the interviews, of all the phone calls and texts, and we're going to play this out now, and then I'm going to go to some other clips that I have.
Amount of people,
but like I said, this came up just this morning, so I'm adding this in because it does add a new perspective to the whole thing.
So
Wouldn't you agree?
There also was approximately 90 people on the movie set itself. So there's a lot of interviews that need to be done still in this case, and that's going to be important. There's a lot of facts that are floating around. I wouldn't say facts, there's maybe facts and rumors that are floating around, and it's our job to figure out if they are facts or rumors.
He's not going to answer that.
So we would consider it a live round, a bullet live, because it did fire from
Wow.
the weapon and obviously caused the death of Mrs. Hutchin and,
It's a
and injured Mr.
projectile.
Souza.
I don't know.
How much will you take into account the previous acquisition of unsafe practices?
Here you go. This addresses that question, guys. Okay, so this reporter is asking the question that, hold on. Beth, that's a great detail also. Wow. But I read people walked on. It's like, okay. So right now is when he is addressing what you're asking there, Nancy. This reporter, I'm sorry, is asking the pretty much what you're asking right here. Look at you pro.
Well, that's up to the district attorney to determine how much that's going to weigh, but we are going to follow up on some of those statements that are made, that there were other incidents. We definitely want to speak to anybody that has any information in reference to safety issues on further sets, or whether there were other issues, and we would encourage them to call the sheriff's office at 505-986-2490 with any information they may have, so we can
Please
get
don't call you guys.
a good idea of what the totality of the circumstances are on this set and what's happening in the industry.
And that is something that will play into our legal analysis when we get the completed investigation from the sheriff's
Yeah, you have to
department.
keep in mind, guys, they don't even have all the information yet.
Get filed or not.
They don't have all the info for this investigation.
I know you said it's too early to comment on charges, but can you speak broadly to what your office is examining when it comes to an accidental shooting versus weighing negligence?
Check out homie's zero fade right here. Little guy in the middle. This little fella with his zero fade. Cut.
When we get to that point, yes, I will speak to it. I don't
him
know
too.
that we are at that point yet. Because again, we can't say that it was negligence by whom, how many people were involved. We can't say that with any certainty at this point. So
I believe that the negligence that was there, and just from being someone who is experienced not only with Alec, but being on film sets as well, and understanding, what I did not know was this detail about the distance. Thank you very much, Beth, for dropping this little factoid right here. I did not know that. Well, the filming days are long, okay, but I did not know that the lodging was 50 miles away. That could create some extra stress. I don't know what the mental state of Alec Baldwin was, or all of these other people, but I'm going to take you into another clip in a second that's going to show you an inside look of some of the ADs and everything who there are some phone calls of them being yelled at on set, and we're going to show you that in a second. She's asking about safety issues, I believe, too, earlier in the day.
Of the actual weapon that was fired by Mr. Baldwin. That firearm was an
this is
F.
good.
Lee Pieta long Colt 45 revolver.
All right, an F. Lee Pieta long Colt 45 revolver. So basically a long barrel revolver that you see in like your Western films, where the people are, drawn down and,
There was other ammunition in the gun that we believe was fired by Mr. Baldwin.
The other guns that you recovered, I think that's an important point. Any other live bullets in any of the other guns, including the one that you recovered from Alec Baldwin?
As of right now, there were 3 firearms that were located on the set within close proximity to the incident. We're still going to determine, we'll send the firearm that was fired by Mr. Baldwin to the crime lab and do a functionality test. Obviously, it did fire a live round. The other weapon is a single action Army 45 revolver. That one looks like there's some modification to the cylinder. It may not be functioning, but that'll be determined by the crime lab.
So they're going to do a functionality test to see which guns fire. Now, this is a big misconception. Okay. the big misconception is that that guns that are on a set are somehow not real guns. They're real guns. They will fire real firearms unless they're modified to a certain degree. Some are. But for the most part, these are live guns. It's not just and they say prop gun. A prop gun could be a real gun, but they're just saying that because it's from the prop department. Right. And that's basically a trailer that is on a movie set. The prop department has a trailer. Right. And all the guns are in a locked case by the armorer, usually on that prop truck. They have like a locked case, and sometimes they have this rolling. I saw they had this rolling thing one time, but they had locks on it. You know, it was like you couldn't just grab these guns and just run around willy nilly, putting your finger in the damn trigger housing like Alec Baldwin did, and we're going to get into that.
The other firearm is a plastic, non-functioning revolver.
Can you talk about tensions on the set? Reports people obviously a crew had walked out 6 hours before the accident, and people drinking or crew members drinking the night before, lax conditions. Can you talk about that, and specifically, was there tension on the set?
I won't talk about specifics, but we are aware of those rumors or those statements that have been made, and we're going to do the best to track those down.
Sheriff, can you confirm whether the camera was rolling when the shot was fired?
Oh, if the
There was a
camera was
search warrant that
rolling,
was issued in reference to
wow!
any
If they shot
camera
that
footage,
rehearsal, somebody has this
there
on
was camera
video.
footage, but I
I
can't
would
say
bet that
there
somebody
was
has
no
this on
footage of the
video.
actual incident.
I would bet maybe the armorer, maybe one of the hair folks, or I just feel like somebody's got this on video on their camera, at least on their phone. Wouldn't you think, guys? Right?
I think once we gather all the statements of fact, once we do all the interviews, then that will be weighed by the district attorney to see exactly.
We're going to get into that in a
what,
second, Nancy.
What weight that's going to give in reference to her decision.
I assure you.
Locations other than the movie set being pursued or executed?
Not at this time.
Sheriff, can you please give us an update on Alec Baldwin in particular from law enforcement view?
So, I mean, we could just get through this
We
essentially
know there was
here.
one live round as far as we're concerned on set. We're going to determine whether we suspect that there were other live rounds, but that's up to the testing. But right now, we're going to determine how those got there, why they were there, because they shouldn't have been there.
All right. So now we've got that point of view of the sheriff, and that is in the bag. It's okay. It's okay. We like that. I'm glad. No, I want you to be excited about this, because this is like we're doing this all together here. Let's see. We're going to share this new file. All right. And this one has. Whoops. Did I not mute my monitor? Sorry. Okay. Here we go. Now we are going to go to. Oh, there's a buddy. Jamie Wooders. And this is my world. I like this guy. And this piece, okay, we are just going to go one. This is where I planned to start the show until the other press conference came up this morning. So this is essentially the beginning of the show that I planned. It was going to be a real smooth intro and everything. Of course it was, but
authorities say that actor
that's
Alec
only because
Baldwin
of my hair.
shot and killed a woman on
Here
the
we
set
go.
of his upcoming film Rust.
Now, we're going to listen to this, okay? And in this clip, you are going to hear that 911 call, and you are going to get the opinion of a professional armorer, and you are going to hear some terms and some safety protocols, so you'll get a sense of really what happened.
Was the film's cinematographer.
He did a really good job on
this. The director was also wounded. According to the Stage Actors Union, Baldwin's prop gun contained, quote, a single live round. Court documents state that before fatal shooting, Alec Baldwin was handed a loaded gun on the film set by a director who wasn't aware it was loaded. Fox News Digital has just obtained a 911 call from a script supervisor on the set, and the script supervisor can be heard blaming an assistant director for failing to make sure the prop gun was safe.
And here you're going to hear that call.
So was it loaded with a real bullet or one?
I cannot tell you that.
Okay.
We have 2 injuries from a movie gun shot.
Okay, we're getting them out there already. Just stay on the phone with me.
Okay. Okay. But this AD that yelled at me at lunch because asking about revisions. Did you see him lean over my table and yell at me? He's supposed to check the guns. He's responsible.
Deadline is now reporting that there had been a recent accidental discharge of the prop gun on the set. And the LA Times is reporting that crew members walked off the set just hours before the shooting. One crew member was reportedly complaining about gun safety. Tim Clementi is a Hollywood technical consultant and former FBI special agent, and he joins us now. So, Tim, on a legitimate movie set with safety protocols when you're dealing with a prop gun, what would go into something like using a gun during the filming?
The first thing, Jesse, is always the safety rules. There's 4 rules of firearm safety that you follow with any gun. Treat every weapon as if it's loaded. Never point a gun at anything you're not willing to kill or destroy. Never put your finger on the trigger unless you're willing to kill or destroy. And always be aware of what's in front of, behind, and around your target. All 4 of those rules were violated on that movie set. And if you follow those rules, nobody's in danger and nobody gets hurt. And I don't know that Alec Baldwin is to blame, the producers, the AD that woman mentioned, the assistant director. There's probably a whole host of people because this is a cascading.
So that addresses
set
some of your
issues
questions earlier about liability, right? And how that is shared.
Clearly, it wasn't just Alec having the gun in his hand.
Tim is a
it was him
well-known
not
tech
knowing
consultant.
that it was possibly loaded, him not treating it like it was loaded.
Exactly.
And you know, he bears.
And that is the most important part. What he said. You do not, okay? You do not point a firearm or wave it around with your finger in the trigger housing. Okay? This is basic gun safety. The most basic gun safety.
a little bit of responsibility as a producer on set to make sure these things are being done. And clearly they weren't.
So one round, I guess, wounded one person and killed another. Are you thinking it was some sort of ricochet situation?
No, they're positioning, probably.
Well, generally the director and the director of photography are in very close proximity to each other on a set.
True.
They're usually right next to the camera or right behind the camera or somewhere very close by. And it's possible that it was one round, but possibly not a bullet. There could have been something else, another shell casing that was in the gun. I understand, since this is, I guess, a period piece, that it's most likely that it was a revolver. And so it is possible that the wrong caliber was put in first, or something else was introduced into the chamber, which was still in the chamber, and then a blank was put into the cylinder. The cylinder rotates, the gun fires, and whatever's in that barrel can be projected down the barrel. That could fragment and hit two people at the same time, or it could literally go through one person into the other.
That is true.
And it looks like sloppiness because there was another incident apparently days earlier where there was a discharge situation that people were concerned about. And, you know, investigators are going to look at.
Okay. Hey, RP, we don't do that here. Okay. Bye. We do not insult people like that. Okay. He's gone. Sorry.
Look at everything. They're going to look at sloppiness.
Sorry to my
They're
audience.
going to look at sabotage.
That
I think
had to
everything
happen,
is on the
but
table
they're not
here.
coming
You
back.
don't have a loaded weapon on a set like that and treat it that cavalier.
One of the rules of my chat is we do not degrade people for things they cannot change about themselves. Okay? Don't do it here. Do we understand each other? Good. Let's move on.
Clearly, without multiple protocols being violated, it's just such a tragedy. And I don't see any sort of real explanation besides little leaks that we're hearing throughout the day. In your opinion, and you're familiar with this kind of situation, what does your gut tell you about
Peter.
what happened?
Well, I think there's a failure. There's supposed to be a prop master. There's usually an armorer whenever you have weapons on set. Both of those people are very responsible ordinarily, and they would be the person that you would go to with the weapon before and after you're going to use it. And so somebody should have handed the actor, in this case Alec Baldwin, a weapon and said, Alec, this is loaded. Don't point it at anybody. Don't put your finger on the trigger. When you shoot it, make
Exactly.
sure you're pointing it in a
Don't
safe
put your
direction.
finger on
It's
the
got a
trigger.
blank in it, and this
Pale horse. That's a timeout, my guy. Can't do that here. Do it again. I throw you out. Thank you. Moving on.
it can still cause harm.
The magic of life.
Alec should have recognized that. Once the shot is done, the gun is taken away by the prop master, the armorer, or whoever's responsible on set. Clearly, there was none of that. Apparently, during a rehearsal, he was holding the gun in his hand. And I don't know if this accident occurred during the rehearsal or during an actual scene they were filming. But either way, there's, as I said, there's several people that are responsible. And I think one of the reasons we're not hearing a lot of detail coming out is because there could be criminal liability. And
Absolutely.
I don't disparage any of the people involved as individuals,
Right.
but there are ramifications when something like this happens, and unfortunately, it can be criminal.
Right, and according to the 911 call, it looks like it wasn't the armorer or the prop master that handed the gun. It was the assistant director. So all of those things were not followed.
So there's a chain here that we have to consider as far as where did this weapon come from, where it happened. Now, we could talk about for a brief moment because it's going to segue into part 2 of this. But what I'm going to do briefly is I'm just going to get into another part of this story regarding Alec. Now, a lot of people are saying things about, like this was some kind of plan thing or something like that. Look, that's a guess. There's not enough information about this for people to just jump and go, hey, this is what happened. I've been doing this a lot longer than a lot of you have been alive. Okay, so let me assure you, some of you need to abide by the 72-hour rule, and some of you need to just for like a week or two before you say anything and just listen and hear everything that goes on around you. Okay? Now, with the Mockingbird media that we have, not only in America, but throughout the world, this is what they want. All right? They want you to just jump in. Right? They want you to just jump into the narrative. Head first, headlong, out of control. Right? So some of the things that people don't know about Alec that have, I believe, to a certain degree, been covered up are things like this. All right. Alec Baldwin did a film in, I don't remember what year the movie was released, but the movie was called Minnie's First Time. Oh, there, 2006. It's called Minnie's First Time. Alec Baldwin was 47 years old doing a scene with a 16-year-old actress. Sex scenes. Now, let me just get to another couple of pieces that I found on this. All right. And we're going to go to one more. Let me see, which one was this? Hold on. I have to find which frame this is. Ah, it's this one. There we go. All right. Now, this is from the film Minnie's First Time. This is 47-year-old Alec Baldwin, I believe, 46 or 47, with 16-year-old Nikki Reed in a scene from the film. So you see that here. And this is kind of some of the stuff that we're going to get into. Now, will Alec Baldwin be going to prison? Will some of these other things start to come out about him? Well, they should. Okay. Now, this is also a guy who, let me show you just a couple more articles here. And the Post loves him. All right. Alec Baldwin has punched photographers. Well, let me show you. Let's show you. Okay. This New York Post article that I have for you. You're about to burn some calories on my dick. All right, here we go. I'm watching too many reels. So see this? Alec Baldwin punches photographer after getting marriage license. Oh, and don't get me started on the misses. Okay, because I'm showing you, these are a couple little teaser articles, all right, for the next part of the story here, because we are going to get into this in part 2. His lovely wife, Ilaria, who is from Boston, she's from Boston, not from, not from Argentina. So this is the ridiculousness of this story, right? And, I'm going to be looking into some more about, I hear what you guys are saying about a film that she was allegedly doing and involved in. Okay. About, the word that begins with the P. So essentially, when someone asks me, do I think that this was intentional? I don't think this was intentional. I actually do think this was an accident. There are some peripheral things. Now, there's a tweet that she had allegedly put out the other day, and I want to address for a moment her husband being an attorney for the law firm that is under investigation and the attorney that was indicted. People are thinking, oh, wow, coincidence. Let me just say something. Alec Baldwin is a hardcore lefty who loves that whole culture. Now think of it. He's friends with Hillary Clinton. Why would the girl not get the job as a cinematographer by having a connection? Right? Very simple. Oh, Hillary's like, oh, well, my friend Alec is doing a movie. Maybe we can get her a job there. It's just networking on a different level. Okay. What's up, Chris? It's just networking on a different level. And that's what they're doing. So I don't believe that just because Hillary Clinton's law firm and this cinematographer is married to a lawyer there, I can't get there yet. Nobody has given me enough data for me to go, for me to even look that way too seriously. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Make sure you like it on the way out. All right. So when you see a situation like this, where he's a polarizing individual, I believe that he lost his temper. I believe that there are people under duress, and me, I'm not someone who's very particularly political. I happen to have some more probably conservative views, but I have some not so conservative views on some other things, but certainly not on our children and our security. Latham and Watkins. Yeah, it is a gigantic law firm. And for Alec Baldwin to have, that's just not much of a stretch for me. I don't know what, people like, oh, but she worked for the law firm and then Alec, and how did that? No, man. Like they probably have dinner together. They probably live up the street from each other. I mean, there's some connection there that is social. Do you know how many events that Alec Baldwin has done to support Hillary? How would they not be friends? He's represented by CAA. Come on. Are you guys serious? Look, I just want you to look into it. I want you to look into it. You need to know. You need to look beyond this one fabricated layer that is in front of you. You need to bust through it. That's the only way to find out what's really going on. Right? Exactly. And that's what I say every time. You know what you do? You follow the money. I don't really see anybody benefiting from this situation. But this is not the first installment of this series, all right? I'm going to be doing a part 2. I really appreciate you guys being here. Like and share this. You can see this on the bottom. I got a new Streamlabs, whatchamacallit thing. I'm going to be starting to use OBS soon. And we have some really great collaborations coming up. I have my Rothschild, NSA, and Glenn Beck stories coming out. And I want to just review something real quick before we go. I want to show you something really special about Alec to me. This was, gosh, you'll see in my intro. All right. In the intro, you're going to see Alec talking to me, and you'll see there's a video on my YouTube channel about Alec basically attacking me. Alec sent about 1 million people after me. Okay. Because I questioned his relationship with Harvey Weinstein, which we're going to talk about on the next one. All right. So I really appreciate you guys being here. I could not do this without you. And I hope we see you next time. Make sure you like and share this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope we're going to see you on the next one. And 30% of you are not subscribed yet to my page, which is just madness and bananas. Hit that subscriber bell. I got a lot of great stuff coming up. You're not going to want to miss it. See you on the next one. Thank you so much. I could not do this without you. Full send.
I want you to write down the words the preposition the Veritas machine.
Oh, you know my name?
Veritas machine.
Oh, I'll spell it out.
Veritas machine.
Oh,
yeah?
The oh, yeah, okay.
The Veritas machine.
Oh, thanks, Alec.
Veritas machine. Veritas machine. The Veritas
It's not a preposition.
Machine.
The truth set you free.
I want to thank everybody so much for joining me today. I am Tony D, your host. This was another episode of the Veritas Machine. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Share this out to your friends. Let them know that I'm here. Break this little shadow band I got going. And from the pineapple to the big apple from Maine to Spain, I appreciate everybody who joined me today. And anyone who's going to be viewing this video, I hope you learned something. And I hope you got something out of it. And I sure did get something out of being here with you guys. So thank you so much. Part 2 is coming. I know, right? You know how we do this. Full send.
The truth will set you free.